All right, well, let's just jump right into it. Have you ever felt completely, utterly paralyzed? You know exactly what I mean, right? You're sitting there staring at your goals, but you're just waiting for that absolute perfect, magical moment to actually start living. We always tell ourselves, oh, I just need to learn one more skill, or I need to save a little more money, or, and this is the big one, I need to predict every single possible problem before taking a step. Well, in today's explainer, we are going to completely shatter that illusion. So really ask yourself, are you waiting to be perfectly ready before you actually live? Because honestly, perfection is a myth. We're going to explore two seriously powerful stories today that totally dismantle those invisible barriers keeping us stuck in the mud. We'll start with the inner trap of overthinking, and then we'll tackle the external chaos that just drains our time dry. Okay, so meet Alien. He's this young guy dreaming of leaving his quiet little valley to go find this beautiful golden city just on the other side of the mountains. But here's the thing about Alien. He was careful. Like, way too careful. He fully believed that a smart person prepares for absolutely everything. And you know what happened? His intense desire for safety literally became his prison. He packed this massive bag for every conceivable disaster. We're calling this the heavy backpack. By trying to solve tomorrow's problems today, he completely drained his energy before he even took a step out the door. And the anxiety just became completely absurd. I mean, think about this. He packed a heavy iron sword to fight off a pack of totally imagined wolves. He dragged along a massive, incredibly bulky canvas tent just in case of terrible storms. He even packed a thick winter fur coat for freezing mountaintops. But then this old man walking by hits him with a massive reality check. He points out, hey, there are no wolves today. The sky is perfectly clear blue, and actually, down here in the valley, it's incredibly warm. Alien was literally so crushed under the physical weight of next month's made-up problems that he couldn't even manage a single wobbly step out of his own house. The old man looked at him and said something that it's absolutely profound. He said, "You are spending your energy fighting an enemy that does not exist yet." Just pause and really think about that for a second. How much of your own mental energy do you lose simply by being exhausted by the mere thought of the journey? You know, it makes you wonder, what wolves are you carrying a sword for today? What imaginary storms are you currently lugging a heavy tent around for? So, here is the absolute game changer. Understanding the massive difference between preparation and prediction. The old man gently pointed out that Alien was completely confusing the two. See, preparation, that's trusting your own ability to handle reality when it actually shows up. It's knowing that, hey, if it rains, you're going to find a big leaf or a cave. But prediction is paralyzing yourself by trying to pack for every single what-if scenario in the universe. Actually, scratch that. It's worse than paralyzing. It's impossible, because no human being is strong enough to carry the weight of 1,000 possible futures on their back. Once it finally clicked for Alien that he only needed enough strength for today, he just dropped it all. He dropped the tent, dropped the sword, ditched the heavy winter coat. Suddenly, his bag was incredibly light, and he finally had the actual energy to step out of his door and walk all the way to that golden city. He essentially conquered his own mind. But, well, that brings us to a really massive question, right? Because once you drop all that mental baggage, how on earth do you actually conquer the daily, extremely noisy chaos of the real world? And that brings us straight to the external barrier and our second story. Meet Rayon. Now, Rayon was a highly skilled repairman, but man, he was completely and utterly exhausted. Every single day was the same. He woke up late, his room was an absolute mess, his mind was racing, yet his life felt totally empty. He was just constantly behind, struggling to pay his bills, always promising himself, okay, tomorrow will be different. But tomorrow always arrived late, it felt rushed, and it felt heavy. That is, until an old man walked into his shop carrying a broken 40-year-old wooden clock and introduced Rayon to the absolute, undeniable power of 5 a.m. This old man watched Rayon work, saw how incredibly skilled he was, and then just delivered this incredibly hard truth. He said a man can have talent and still lose his life if he gives his first hour to the world. Wow. He explained that waking up and immediately grabbing your phone, just instantly reacting to text messages, and letting all the noise of the day hit you like a ton of bricks, that turns you into a servant. And waking up as a servant to the world's noise pretty much guarantees that your own life stays completely asleep. Seriously, just think about how we usually spend our morning energy. Most of us wake up and just instantly give away the vast majority of our brain power to the world's noise and other people's problems. By the time we finally get around to our own purpose, there is literally nothing left in the tank. Ryan suddenly realized this was exactly what he was doing. He saw that he was just waiting around for life to hand him a golden opportunity, but he had created absolutely no space in his life to actually receive it. So Ryan made a tiny decision that ended up compounding into this massive, life-changing liberation. Step 1, he woke up at 5 a.m. Look, his body completely hated it, but he forced himself up anyway. Step 2, he finally cleaned that messy room of his, because let's face it, if you can't even control your own environment, you're definitely going to struggle to control your future. Step 3, he sat down in the absolute quiet and just wrote out a clear plan and a list of his skills. And step 4, he got to his repair shop before anyone else even woke up. For the first time ever, he entered the day prepared instead of just letting the day randomly attack him. And this is where everything totally transformed. Ryan grabs a piece of paper and puts this handwritten sign outside his shop, "Early repair service available 7 a.m." Now, people definitely laughed at him at first. I mean, seriously, who needs a toaster fixed at 7 in the morning, right? But here's the brilliant part. Because he stopped waiting for opportunity to come to him, he ended up attracting this totally invisible market. We're talking eager office workers, delivery drivers, students, people who had absolutely zero free time later in the day. He literally turned his quiet morning into an intense training ground for his future success. As Ryan became super successful, bought much better tools, and eventually opened up multiple shops of his own, he didn't just abandon this new habit. Even when life got really comfortable, he protected that silent morning time fiercely. He kept his phone put away, and he started using 3 very specific questions to guide his life. What must be done today? What problem needs solving? And most importantly, what kind of person am I becoming? Instead of just constantly reacting to whatever life threw at him, he was finally the one actively directing it. Fast forward a few years, and that same old man returned to find Ryan running a massive, thriving training center. Ryan just smiled at him and shared this incredibly profound realization. He said the first hour was never just about time. It was about identity. And that is so true. Winning your morning doesn't just shuffle your daily schedule around. It profoundly, fundamentally changes how you view yourself. You literally go from feeling helpless, like a victim being dragged through the day, to waking up as the absolute owner of it. Right before leaving, the old man shared one last piece of wisdom to wrap the whole thing up. He said, "A clock can show you the time, but it cannot give you a purpose." You see, waking up early, that just gives you the raw material. It gives you that beautiful, silent space to think, to reflect, and to start building. But the actual purpose, the deep drive, the real reason you are finally choosing to drop that heavy mental backpack we talked about earlier, well, that has to come from the person holding the time. That has to come from you. So here's what I want you to take away from this explainer. Tomorrow morning, when that alarm starts ringing, before all your usual excuses get strong, before your fear even has a chance to wake up, and long before the world starts demanding your attention, remember this. Your future is not going to shout at you. It's going to whisper. It whispers in that quiet silence right before sunrise, and it's asking you one very simple, completely life-changing question. Are you going to go back to sleep, or will you rise?